Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Rancho Mirage City Council and Community Services District, Energy Authority, Housing Authority, Joint Powers, Finance Authority, Library and Observatory, and Redevelopment Successor Agency Boards. It is Thursday, December 18th. It is now 1:01 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order, please. I'd like to ask our colorful city manager to do the flag salute, please.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll, please?
Certainly. Councilmember Downs?
I am here.
Councilmember Fromberg-Edelstein? Here. Councilmember Weil?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Keefe?
Here.
And Mayor Mulatto.
I am here. Next item on the agenda is presentations. We'd like to welcome the Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce to provide their business update. Do we have someone here from the chamber? Nicole?
And David.
Of the City Council. My name is Nicole Kent. I am on the board of the Chamber of Commerce for the Ritz-Carlton Rancho Mirage. So we've been having a really successful year. We have grown in terms of our membership. We have some new business members that joined just in the last month, and we had an extremely successful fundraiser just last Friday at Desert Willow. At Mission Hills. And we just look forward to having a really successful 2026. We're already engaging in the Rammies and the awards for our local business members and celebrating all of the next generation in 2026.
Thank you and your board for all that you do, all your members, because it's making Rancho Mirage an even bigger and brighter community. And we have another member to the chamber right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Good afternoon, Mayor Mulatto, Mayor Pro Tem O'Keefe, Mr. Hagerman, great holiday spirit there. City staff and guests. My name is David Kowalczyk, and I serve as a proud board member of the Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce and as the VP of Human Resources for Eisenhower Health. I'd like to begin with a brief chamber update on behalf of President and CEO Katie Slimko. Today, Chamber staff are hosting their annual holiday open house and cookie drive for Eisenhower Health nurses at the Chamber offices, which is why they're unable to be here. Each year, the Chamber delivers hundreds of cookies to nurses working both day and night shifts. What began during the pandemic has now continued for 5 years and reflects the strong partnership between the Chamber and Eisenhower Health. With that, I'd like to transition into a brief business update from Eisenhower Health. First of all, I'd like to thank the City Council for your overwhelmingly support of Eisenhower each and every day. We continue to see strong volumes in both in- and outpatient care settings and now have over 100 outpatient clinics across the valley. Our main focus remains on delivering high quality and safety. Patient safety is the foundation of everything we do. Recently, we announced that Eisenhower again achieved an A grade in Leapfrog's Hospital Safety Survey. Eisenhower earned the only A grade in the Coachella Valley. As you know, we've been a teaching hospital for a number of years, and that program keeps growing. We now have more than 140 residents and fellows, with 2 new residency programs in psychiatry and general surgery in the next 2 years that will take us to approximately 200 residents and fellows. We're also progressing on our trauma program and should have 3 trauma surgeons on board in January, with a 4th surgeon in the spring filling our trauma surgeon panel. I'm also happy to announce that we're approaching the 5,200th newborn since we opened our birthing center. Our cardiovascular capital campaign is going great. We've already raised $250 million of the $270 million needed for this campaign. Construction, as you've no doubt seen, is underway for the first building. And again, we sincerely thank the City of Rancho Mirage for their donation to that campaign. Today, Eisenhower's future is bright and strong. With a 5-star quality, we've grown to a $1.3 billion in revenue, more than 1,100,000 annual visits, and over 5,000 employees, making us still the largest private employer in the Valley. Thank you very much for this time, and I just want to wish all of you a very happy holiday season.
And to you as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Item number 3 on the council agenda, council member comments. I would like to start with Council Member E. Fromberg Edelstein.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure there'll be a lot of council members speaking about it, but we all had the pleasure of attending 2 menorah lightings on Sunday for the start of Hanukkah, which were both lovely, one from the Jewish Federation, another with Chabad of Rancho Mirage at the river. Both were beautiful, and the timing of those was so poignant and important with the attacks that occurred in Australia for what would be the timing of their first night of Hanukkah. It is such a difficult time for so many reasons, but none are an excuse for physical violence towards any one person or peoples, especially at a time when they're celebrating something so deeply steeped in tradition and love. I really don't have words for what those communities in Bondi Beach are experiencing right now, but I am glad that we were able to have peaceful, beautiful Jewish celebrations where people from all backgrounds came and celebrated that beautiful tradition of lighting the menorah the first night. Our mayor lit the menorah at the river and did a pretty good job on a ladder. It was not easy, so I appreciate her doing that, and in heels because she's Madam Mayor. But I just want to say to everyone in the Jewish community, Happy Hanukkah. To everybody else, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays for whatever you celebrate, and wishing everyone a healthy and peaceful 2026, because if we need it anytime, we need it now. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ted Weil.
Thank you. And Councilmember Fromberg, I think that you can acknowledge your wonderful mom being in the audience today and wish her a happy holiday. We're delighted to see her.
Please don't spoil her.
Well,
She's already hard enough to
I
contain.
want to spoil her.
And my mother, Mary, who made all the beautiful Christmas necklaces and does it every year. She made 300 of them by herself with her little 2 hands, which kept her busy for about 15 minutes. And I love you, Mom, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Mom. I'd like to take also this opportunity to extend my sincere appreciation to the Ritz-Carlton, the River at Rancho Mirage, and the Rancho Mirage Chamber for their exceptional contributions to our community through a series of distinguished civic and holiday events. I especially want to recognize the Chamber for hosting the State of the City address, an important civic occasion that brought together residents, business priorities, and community partners to reflect on our city's accomplishments and vision for the future, while strengthening civic engagement and community collaboration. I want to acknowledge the beautifully presented holiday tree lighting celebrations at the Ritz-Carlton, the River, which created memorable experiences for families and visitors and exemplified the spirit of the season through Rancho Mirage. As my colleague just mentioned, there was also a wonderful menorah lighting at the river, which most of us attended. I extend my appreciation to the Chamber for its leadership in hosting the holiday cookie, toy, and blood drive today, a meaningful initiative that reflected the generosity, compassion, and service-minded community that we live in. Thank you to all who contributed to these events for your dedication, professionalism, and commitment to enhancing the quality of life in the city of Rancho Mirage. Together, these efforts exemplify the unity, generosity, and civic pride that define our city. I personally have lived here over 25 years, and I can tell you that I am appreciative every single day that I chose to make this area the home for myself and my family. I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah and a joyful Merry Christmas. Most importantly, stay safe and be careful. Hug your loved ones and hold them close. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Two things to speak to today. One has to do with our neighboring city, Palm Desert, and another has to do with the holidays. So about Palm Desert, many of you know about the news items and the social media comment in Palm Desert over the past week or so. For those of you who might have missed the news, a week ago today, a member of the Palm Desert City Council suggested that they do away with recognition of Pride Month and the Pride banner on the outside of Palm Desert City Hall. They did call a special meeting to discuss it and determine whether or not they were going to take that suggestion, and they had that meeting on Tuesday afternoon. It was heavily attended. Their chamber was overflowing, and there were 3 hours or more of comment from the public. At the end, they did the right thing. By a 4-to-1 vote, they voted to continue to support Pride Month with that banner. It's important for every one of our residents in this city to know that at this city hall, we are proud to celebrate Pride. And the way we do that every year during Pride Month is at our library with books and with education and with inspiration for our LGBTQ community, and we intend to do exactly that. Now, for the holidays, a better subject. So, as some of my colleagues had mentioned, there have been a couple of really important celebrations that we attended over the weekend. So on Sunday, let's do that first photo. On Sunday, many of us attended the menorah lighting at the river. There I am with a couple of youngsters dressed as dreidels, and the rabbi gave us all these illuminated dreidels to wear. I'm wearing mine now. I'm going to wear it throughout the rest of the session today. It was a great celebration. Latkes, there was hot cocoa, there was a drop of chocolate coins. There was lots of song and lots of dancing. It was a great, great, great celebration. And then the day before, on Saturday night, we had our Home from the Holidays celebration at our amphitheater, and they did take me up on stage, dress me up as Santa. So I'm demonstrating in that photo two of the skills that are important for council members. It's important to have a sense of humor, and it's important to be a good sport. And about a year ago, many of us remember that there was a concert at the community room at our library when Ted was mayor, and a Marilyn Monroe impersonator brought him up on stage, and I think she sang, what was it? I think she sang Happy Birthday, Mr. President. I think that was the song she sang. And at the end of her performance, she planted a great big red kiss right on his forehead. And I couldn't resist at the next meeting putting that photo up of Ted. So Ted certainly displayed those two skill sets as well. He certainly had a sense of humor about it, and he certainly was a good sport. So two things I'm wearing. One is the holiday gift, the ornament that Eve's mother, Mary, gave to all of us today. Thank you, Mary. I'm wearing mine, and I will wear it during the meeting today. And also, as I mentioned before, the menorah that I'm wearing. I'm sorry, the dreidel that I'm wearing. Happy holidays, everybody.
Mayor Pro Tem. My apologies. O'Keefe. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good afternoon, everyone. I feel a little underdressed considering he dressed as Santa and Mr. Hagerman is dressed as something. I am happy to announce that the Coachella Valley Animal Shelter is having a free adoption event beginning today through Christmas Day. And you know that the shelter has been overcrowded for the past year, so there are many adorable, adoptable dogs, puppies, cats, kittens, and they're available. So we have free adoption, and that also includes free vaccinations, free microchipping, So now is a great time to go to the animal shelter. There have been some great events this week, and everyone's mentioned them, and it was really been a pleasure to attend them. But in light of the news this week about LGBT visibility, I'd like to end this year with an observation. I am a gay man. I want to remind everyone that Rancho Mirage is a welcoming city to all, regardless of age, race, sex, religion, or sexual orientation. We are an inclusive community for LGBT individuals. The city embraces diversity and offers a supportive environment where everyone can feel safe and accepted. We celebrate equality, and we support organizations that help LGBT folks 365 days a year. We participate in Pride, and we offer LGBT programs at our library. We are committed to inclusivity, which is why we consistently receive the highest ratings on the Human Rights Commission Municipal Equality Index. Rancho Mirage is a great place for LGBT people to live and to thrive. My husband and I are proud to call Rancho Mirage our home, and it is an honor to serve on this city council and represent all the residents of our city. So, this holiday season, I am grateful to serve, and I'm grateful for the friendships and allies that we have in this city. There are lots of events and parties, but I want to celebrate the things that make life truly worth living. Friendship, community, family, empathy, generosity, civility, understanding, belonging, personal growth, laughter, music, art, nature. My wish for each of you is to have these things not only this season, but forever. And I wish all of you a very happy, healthy, and a prosperous new year. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. It's hard to follow that. Beautiful words from all my colleagues. In Rancho Mirage, in the city of Rancho Mirage, we've enjoyed many decades of a wonderful community, celebrating our residents on many, many different levels. But we don't celebrate just on occasions. We celebrate and we care for our residents 24/7, 365. Some will cite an ordinance or a resolution, maybe a flag, maybe it's a parade. And those are all important. But we also support our residents through a quality of life by supporting medical institutions that provide excellent care, whether it be Eisenhower, whether it be Desert AIDS Project, the center, or even our Coachella Valley Animal Campus, because even four-legged citizens deserve care as well. We have much to celebrate. We have much to be grateful for. It puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? Especially during this holiday season, when we have those that are close to us that aren't always close, maybe geographically. Reach out to someone. Maybe you agree with their position, and maybe you don't, but maybe that's also an opportunity to provide mutual education and then find maybe some common ground. We're all better human beings for that effort. I love living in Rancho Mirage. That's why I've been here for almost 40 years, coming here before the city was even incorporated. There was a gentleman that lived in our city, Frank Sinatra, who said in October of 1974 from the stage at Madison Square Garden, you know, this is a land of the free, a dream land, and a land for people to dream. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Is there division? Absolutely. But if we were perfect, then it wouldn't be any fun trying to fix it. And I agree with those words. It's a very, very special place that we live, and it is incumbent upon all of us, even in the smallest of efforts, to help make it a wonderful place to live. And thank you all for being here, by the way. It's wonderful to have public discourse and to have attendance here in the council chamber. It's important, and we do appreciate you. I wish every one of you and my colleagues, our public safety, everyone that's here, a very special holiday and a wonderful 2026. We have to continue business now. Next item on the agenda is city manager comments and reports.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I summarize the consent calendar, I just wanted to take a moment to thank the city staff for this last year. There's been many projects and many items done over this last year, and it's thanks to the hard work that they bring every day. And the city would not be what it is without their dedication and care for this community. So thank you to the city staff. I also wanted to just take a moment to thank our public safety partners, CAL FIRE and the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Thank you guys for protecting us 24/7. And when I'm enjoying Christmas with my family, I know that there are men and women that are missing those opportunities because they're being of service to our community. So thank you guys for what you do every day. With that, I'll move to the consent calendar. There are 7 items on the consent calendar for consideration, items 5A through 5G. Item 5A is to waive the full reading of any ordinance introduced or adopted pursuant to this agenda. Item 5B are the December 4th, 2025 regular city council meeting minutes. Item 5C is the 2025 building code update as presented on the agenda. Item 5D is the final parcel map number 38844 for a skilled nursing facility. Item 5E is the extension of a completion date for parcel map number 38315 for 4 residential lots. Item 5F are contracts, and 5G are demands. And before we go to council comments or questions, I'll ask the city clerk to take any public comment on the consent calendar.
Thank you. I did not receive any speaker cards on the consent calendar. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on something that is on the consent calendar today? No speakers.
Are there any council comments with regards to the consent calendar?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda is public hearings, number 6. And this is with regard to the environmental assessment, case number EA 21-0002, general planning zoning map amendment, case number GPZMA 21-0001, development agreement amendment. It's the Ritz-Carlton project. And Ben Torres, our planning manager, will report on this item.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. The project site is located next to the existing Ritz-Carlton Resort along Frank Sinatra Drive. The project is broken up into 2 main areas, the residence portion and the Sky Mesa recreational area. The image to the right shows these areas. The image to the left shows the Ritz property. To provide some background on the current major modification request, there was a prior project approved by the City Council on August 3rd, 2006 for a hotel expansion with multiple components, which included tennis villas on the other side of Frank Sinatra. No changes to the tennis villas are proposed as part of the subject request. The area shown in red includes the development of a T-wing building and various hotel villas. The hotel villas are similar in nature and concept to the proposed B buildings of the current project. They were also set back a minimum of 50 feet from the exterior property lines. They were also 2 stories and contained a total of 111 units within the T building as well. The current project is proposing a total of 106 units for reference, so this is a reduction. This is the proposed site plan for the current major modification request, which is modifying the prior entitlements to add 23,800 square feet of event space, adding a 381 stall subterranean parking structure, reducing the units from 111 to 106, as I previously mentioned, modifying the B buildings with updated architecture and incorporating garages, and adding a 6,200 square foot Sky Mesa restaurant and recreational area. Building A1 will consist of 48 condo hotel units, the venue, which will be the event space, and the subterranean parking. Buildings B1 through B15 will have 58 condo hotel units, and a 5,500 square foot lounge area is also proposed. Colors and materials for the venue, Building A1 residences, and Building B1 through 15 will consist of a main stucco color of Benjamin Moore and Bleecker Beggy and a smooth finish with an accent of Sherman-Williams backdrop integral. Also in a smooth finish, masonry veneer in a Timberwolf color will add interest to the architecture. Roofing will consist of concrete tile in a California Mission blend color, and a variety of other trims and finishes will complement the primary materials that are proposed for the fascias and metal elements of the building. The architectural style for the project is best described as contemporary desert architecture compatible with the existing hotel. These are the venue elevations. The venue will be a one-story building. In the background are the condo hotel units of the A1 building. From this vantage point, the condo hotel portion of the project site ranges from 35 feet to 47 feet tall, but please be aware that the venue is at a lower elevation than the condo hotel units in the background, and this will be screened to the north by the existing three-story Ritz-Carlton hotel. The venue plan contains a large 11,000 square foot main event space with additional areas for kitchen and pre-function space. The west elevation shows a good perspective of the changes in elevation from the venue to the residential units of Building A1. The venue will have a maximum height of 39 feet 3 inches. The residential portion, for reference, on the west elevation will have a maximum height of 25 feet 5 inches from the higher grade portion. A majority of Building A1 will have a maximum height of 25 feet 5 inches from the north elevation. You can see from the entrance of the subterranean garage here. The Building A1 condo hotel units will consist of 3 plan types, which range in size from 1,063 square feet to 1,902 square feet. They will consist of 26 one-bedroom, 1-bath units, 12 two-bedroom, 2-bath units, and 10 two-bedroom, 3-bath units. These are the south elevations, which will primarily have a height of around 25 feet. This rendering shows the one-story venue building. Renderings of Building A1 showing the various walkways and landscaping and buildings are shown here as well. The residential buildings B1 through B15 consist of various sizes. These elevations show the 5-plex version, which is most common along the southern property lines, with a maximum height of 32 feet 4 inches. This is a rendering of the project's main entrance, showing a B building in the background. This is a rendering of the lounge, which will provide amenities and space to the new development. A tentative parcel map is also proposed as part of the project for condominium purposes to establish 3 separate parcels for a portion of the project site. Parcel 3 will contain the 106 condo hotel units. The yellow boxes shown below show the finished floor heights of some of the proposed buildings at the closest point to Murata Estates. The orange boxes show either the finished floor or pad elevation heights for some of the homes within Murata Estates closest to the project site. The project building closest to Frank Sinatra Drive has about an 8-foot height difference between the closest home within Murata Estates, and the grade difference increases going east along the project site. For instance, Building B6 within the project has a 34-foot elevation difference between the closest home within Murata Estates to the south. This is a site section showing how the parking, venue, and Building A1 buildings will be situated on the property, and the red dashed line shows the existing natural grade. This line of sight study shows how the tallest portion of Building A1 and the closer Building B6 look when viewing from Murata Estates from a residence to the south. The vantage point located at the center of the project site, from a vantage point located at the center of the project site. The home here has a pad elevation which is 34 feet higher than the finished floor of building B6, which has a maximum height of 32 feet. The elevation difference between Mirage and the project site buildings along the southern property line is again reduced the closer to Frank Sinatra Drive a particular building is measured from. From the southern property line, building A1 shown here is set back approximately 300 feet away and has a maximum height of 25 feet 6 inches. There is a small dash line coming from the nearest home, which represents what a homeowner would see looking past building B6 to building A1, which is at a slightly higher elevation. The red dash line, which goes across this exhibit, shows the existing natural grade from this central location on the project site. The Sky Mesa recreational area was not a part of the 2006 entitlements and includes a restaurant in addition to recreational amenities. A 50-foot minimum setback is also proposed for this area. The Sky Mesa recreational area is located on 3.88 acres of Mountain Reserve Zone land within the project site. Uses within the Mountain Reserve Zone are limited to recreational activities such as hiking. As part of the proposed project, the applicant is proposing an amendment to the city's general plan zoning map that would expand the resort hotel designation to encompass the Sky Mesa portion of the site, which has been privately owned and not public land. In addition, development within the Sky Mesa recreational area is limited to 6,966 square feet, which includes a restaurant built into the mountain to minimize visual impacts, and a separate restroom building. In total, the buildings within the Sky Mesa recreational area make up less than 4% of the 3.88 acres allocated to this area. The majority of the area, 96%, will be dedicated to recreational uses and open space, which is compatible with the Mountain Reserve Zone. These are the north and east elevations, which provide a good viewpoint of the restaurant design and show how it is incorporated within the natural environment. The restaurant elevation utilizes a good amount of floor-to-ceiling glass to take advantage of the spectacular views from that location. The site section provides a good view to understand how the restaurant will be situated within the natural environment. The project site will be lushly landscaped with a variety of trees and shrubs. Trees proposed include mulga, sweet acacia, desert willow, blue palo verde, and a variety of others in 36-inch box sizes. A variety of date palms and California fan palms and a variety of sizes are also proposed. Shrubs like desert milkweed, brittlebush, and a variety of others provide color and interest. Along the southern property line next to Murata Estates, palm trees and trees will be spaced approximately 15 feet to further screen the proposed buildings and project from adjacent residences. The Sky Mesa area will incorporate many of the same landscaping choices like Palo Verde and various state and California fan palms. The project also includes a development agreement amendment. The 10th Amendment to the development agreement updates terms for the project site and incorporates the proposed modifications to previously approved entitlements that are part of the subject request. It also allows owner occupancy for a period of 6 months, consecutive or non-consecutive. Additional personal occupancy provisions are included, and the Ritz will manage the condo hotel rentals, and it sets a 10-year term for the project site. I wanted to elaborate on some of the public comments received that have not already been discussed in my presentation. There is currently an emergency access road shown here in yellow highlight that serves the Ritz-Carlton and Murata Estates. This roadway was not designed for typical two-way traffic or for construction traffic, which at minimum requires a 24-foot width. This road is currently 20 feet in width. And this emergency access road is built on mountain terrain, which has steep elevation changes and sharp turns. There is also an existing drainage channel on the east side of the access road, and the bighorn sheep chain link fence, which protects the sheep from grazing on developed lands on the west side of this road, so it cannot be expanded. From an environmental perspective, this road was also not studied in the project's traffic study and is within sensitive mountain reserve zone land. The project is also already conditioned per condition of approval number 32 to prepare a traffic control plan for traffic routing during construction. The project will also comply with the mitigation measures contained within the environmental document, which help mitigate construction impacts by restricting large trucks that are greater than 80,000 pounds within 50 feet from the southern property line to reduce vibration impacts, and requires the use of California Air Resource Board certified 4-tier engines for equipment that is 75 horsepower or greater. Another item that was brought up were sidewalks along Frank Sinatra Drive, which have been deemed to be infeasible to install along the full length of Frank Sinatra Drive between Highway 111 and Murad Estates for a number of reasons, which include that they will not be compatible with the American with Disabilities Act due to the steep slopes, in some areas 10%. There are a variety of utility equipment boxes and underground equipment next to the curb within these areas where the sidewalks would typically be placed. This includes high voltage Southern California Edison lines. Existing landscaping will need to be removed to accommodate the sidewalk, and then retaining walls, existing mountain area, and decorative guardrails will need to be removed and surrounding area stabilized. Given the infeasibility and constraints of a sidewalk, an alternative the city has looked into is a shared use path within the existing roadway to accommodate pedestrian and bicycle use. Various points have also been brought up related to noise and noise measurement locations in the project's noise study. The project study noise impacts using current best practices and methodologies. Noise measurement locations were chosen by the noise consultant using Caltrans and Federal Transit Administration guidance, and 6 receiver locations were studied using predictive noise levels south of the project site within Murada Estates. Noise impacts were determined to be less than significant, with the mitigation measures of requiring that large vehicles greater than 80,000 pounds not be used within 50 feet from the southern property line. Staff would like to add the following additional conditions of approval to the project. 1, that construction hours be limited to 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And 2, that the developer shall reimburse the city an amount to be determined appropriate, not to exceed 50% total cost share of project for the design and installation of a buffered shared use path along the downward side of Frank Sinatra Drive from Murad Estates to Highway 111 to accommodate pedestrian and bicycle use, subject to city engineer and public works director approval. A mitigated negative declaration based on environmental assessment case number EA 21-0002 was prepared. Mitigation measures were recommended for air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, noise, transportation, traffic, and tribal cultural resources. A notice of intent to adopt a mitigated negative declaration was first distributed for a 30-day comment period, which began on March 11th, 2024 to April 9th, 2024. Based on comments received, revisions were made to the document, and it was recirculated for another 30-day review period from July 22nd, 2024 to August 20th, 2024. Responses to the comments were incorporated in the environmental document. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on January 9th, 2025, and recommended the project to the City Council. Staff recommends that the City Council take the following actions shown on the screen with the incorporation of the additional conditions of approval recommended by staff. And also various public comments were received, which were distributed to the City Council prior to the meeting. That concludes staff's presentation, and staff and the applicant are available for any questions. Thank you.
I'd like to call on our city manager, Isaiah Hagerman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So thank you, Ben, for that presentation. I just want to kind of go back and maybe retouch on some of the points that Ben made. So we're all aware of some of the concerns that were raised by the neighbors. And so city staff did get that letter from several residents. And there were kind of 4 main topics brought up within that letter. So I know we have some of those residents here. So I would like to, it'll be a repeat of what Ben said, but I would like to just try to re-highlight that one more time. Obviously, when it comes to concerns from neighbors and residents, the city does want to be sensitive to those things. So I'd like to quickly just summarize what Ben said in relation to some of those comments or concerns. So the first one that I'll address is within that letter, from the residents or neighbors. They were requesting a modification to the construction start time. So that was one of the conditions that Ben read at the end. So we are bringing in with a condition the construction times that the residents were requesting, which was 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is a little bit different than our standard from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We thought that was a very reasonable accommodation that we could make since this project is adjacent to residential uses. The other one was there was a request in that letter to route the construction traffic through that fire access road. So Ben, will you bring up your presentation with kind of what that road looks like? Unfortunately, this was one of those ones that we felt like it wasn't safe. And so the point of kind of staff did go out, we drove the road or the emergency access road, and it's just simply not wide enough. And it's very steep, has some very tight turns, and it's just not a safe place to route construction traffic. And so this was one of those comments that we did analyze, but unfortunately, given the conditions out there, staff didn't feel it was appropriate to make that a condition because of some of these safety issues. So that was one, unfortunately, that we kind of felt like wasn't a viable option for us. The other comment that was in there was pedestrians walking on the roadway. And so obviously, being on Frank Sinatra, we have seen that as well. And there is, due to various reasons, but just a lack of active transportation infrastructure in this area. And so when we analyze this roadway, it would be, probably impossible to do an ADA compliant sidewalk. And then in addition, Ben, will you bring back up some of those pictures? There's would be some very significant challenges with some of the utility boxes that you see there and access, and then kind of the area on the bottom, it gets very narrow, and that sidewalk would have to get very narrow, and you'd be destroying all the landscaping in this area. However, maybe a compromise solution came out of our staff, and so that led to the other condition that Ben led, is in measuring Frank Sinatra, there is enough width to add a bike lane, a 5-foot wide bike lane on one side of the roadway. And so what that would entail is essentially restriping the whole roadway to accommodate that new 5-foot wide bike lane. Now, obviously, part of the condition is when you look at the length of that, most of it is not adjacent to the project that we're talking about today. And staff felt like there was value to the city in making this change to the roadway as well, just for pedestrian and bicycle safety. And so the point of the condition is the city would be in the lead so that our city engineer and our traffic teams can make sure that it's appropriately designed. And then the applicant would be required to reimburse the city not to exceed 50% of that cost. So our city engineer did put together some rough estimates of what restriping the roadway would cost. And so due to, I think just the benefits to the city as well, staff felt like it made sense to have us kind of drive that portion of it so that we could design it appropriately. But we do recognize the need for some pedestrian and bicycle safety out there. So within the constraints that we have within the natural roadway and the topography of this area, we couldn't, kind of say, yeah, sidewalk would work. However, we felt like this was maybe a compromise solution to help make it a little bit safer for the drivers and the people that are out there exercising. And so that was the origination of that second condition for the city to add in that buffered bike lane. And then the last comment that was at the end of the letter was on the views. And I know that we received another email from a property owner in Murata about concerns about view. So Ben, can you bring up slide 18 again? So Ben did a good job summarizing this slide, but I just, when somebody wants to talk about concerns about view, very appropriate questions, very natural that we see through pretty much any development process. Obviously legally, the city doesn't protect view corridors, but obviously we're going to be smart and analyze a project and say, hey, we don't want somebody living behind a wall, right, and completely, destroying, their views. And so I kind of went back to this and went through this with our staff. And to me, this was maybe a nice summary of what's going on. Obviously, this site has been planned for development for a very long time. What you're seeing today is slightly different than historical versions of it, actually less dense. But to me, this slide, gives us a good picture of kind of what's going on. So, it's kind of hard to read because the font's really small, but, off on the right, you see the nearest home. Oh, it's over there. You see the nearest home, right? And then you see this red dotted line go out. And as Ben noted, that is the elevation of the dirt as it exists today, right? Well, where this project is going is much lower than that, right? So they're digging out dirt, so they're bringing the pad level of these buildings below existing grade. So, what is there today is that red dotted line, and you can kind of see where they're digging down to lower the visual impact for their neighbors and bring this pad level down. And then there's that black dotted line that goes out from that home, and that's meant to illustrate, from that nearest home, again, this is one perspective of one home, but from that nearest home, when you're standing and you're just looking out, what are you viewing? So that black dotted line is about 5 feet, right? So if a person is just standing out there and they're looking straight, what are they looking out? So about 300 feet away, you have that A1 building, and they would be about at that roof line. Now, obviously with the distance there, right, that's a pretty substantial distance between that home and where that building's at. So, I thought this was a nice slide to kind of summarize, to say, hey, if you were concerned about your view, this is set from the nearest home and gives you some idea of how are they changing the elevation and where are the pad heights going to be compared to where that nearest home is going to be. Obviously, like anything, if you look out, yeah, you're going to see buildings. When it comes to the view corridor, this seems to be like the applicant, did a reasonable job of trying to limit those interferences with the view corridors of the neighbors by lowering those pad levels and then creating some distance by that A1 building that does have the most height out there. So I thought this was a nice slide to kind of show the council and some of the residents that were in the room that this is, shows you how the site is today with that red dotted line compared to where they're taking it, and then some of the distances out there. And so, we did try to, where we could, accommodate the requests. So we are making 2 recommendations to modify, and then also the addition of that buffered bike lane should help with some of the pedestrian and bicycle traffic out there and cars and just general safety of the roadway. So, thank you.
Before we take council comments, we'd like to open it to public comments, please.
Thank you. Now's the appropriate time for public testimony on this public hearing item. First speaker is Bruce Bauer.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem O'Keefe, honorable council members, city manager, city attorney, and city staff. Thank you for considering my letter of December 12th and the concerns that I raised. My name is Bruce Bauer, and I'm the attorney representing Murata Custom Lot Association, otherwise known as Murata Estates. Murata Estates, the residents of Murata Estates selected this property in that neighborhood because of the solitude that existed in the area. Before I address the concerns that I raised in my letter, I want to make it clear that the residents of the Murata Estates don't oppose this project. Ritz-Carlton has been a good neighbor to them, but they have some serious concerns, some of which I understand are now being addressed, which we appreciate. The first issue we have is with respect to the construction phase of the project. The increased construction activity in this project will rise because of the construction necessary to bring about this enormous proposed project into fruition. Since Frank Sinatra Drive will be the main arterial road for construction traffic into the proposed project, traffic will be enormously and negatively impacted in the area. This thoroughfare is crucial for daily commutes and, more importantly, for emergency vehicles. Many residents in the Murata Estates are elderly and rely on prompt emergency services. Obstruction or delays in this route could have serious consequences. To address that issue, we have urged that the city propose that the paved service road located behind the Ritz-Carlton be expanded and utilized for all the construction-related activities. This makes sense. I understand that there's concerns that that's narrow. I think those issues can be addressed. There's obviously safety concerns if they go up Frank Sinatra versus the utilizing the service road. So weighing the issues and the concerns about safety on Frank Sinatra versus the issues of safety on that paved service road, we urge that it be utilized. We have, second concern is the traffic coming up Frank Sinatra. I understand what the city is now saying, that they would have a buffered bike lane. I don't understand what that buffered bike lane will look like. We'd like some more understanding. Will that be segregated so cars can't interact with that by bumpers, similarly to the ones they use on CV Link? We urge that a protected pedestrian sidewalk be constructed on both sides of Frank Sinatra Drive. The third issue is construction noise, and we appreciate the city's concession on those issues. The final issue was the one of views, and we urge that the developer make those impacts clear with a virtual 3D survey depicting the project as completed, so it makes it clear how it would impinge the neighbors in Murata Estates along Murata Circle and the Grand View Court. With that, the residents of Murata Estates urge the city not to recommend the approval of the proposed project at this time until the problems and impacts discussed are properly addressed and fully mitigated. Thank you.
The next speaker is Halil Nalsi.
Well, good afternoon, Mayor Muloto and council members. My name is Halil Nalsi, Director of Operations at the Ritz-Carlton Rancho Mirage, and nice to see you again. And thank you for the opportunity to speak today and for the continued support at the Ritz-Carlton Rancho Mirage. I would like to briefly talk about the expansion, what expansion means to us. And we currently have over 352 ladies and gentlemen employed at the resort. And what another 106 rooms and ballroom means to us is growing our family and giving opportunity to the next generation, whether with extensive tenure in our beautiful desert or launching pad to work in the exotic destinations to our brand reaches. We are also grateful to have Cam Sang, who invests continuously and has long-term vision for the property. Their investment in remastering in 2023 and 2024 has improved the experience for our guests. And I know that our Director of Sales and Marketing, Nicole Kent, she's going to more talk about the impact and the future opportunities as well. But thank you for your time today and your exemplary leadership and supporting the growth of the second largest industry in the valley. Thank you.
Nicole Kent.
Good afternoon again, Mayor Mulatto and ladies and gentlemen of the City Council. I just wanted to also thank you for your time today. I was thinking about the last week at the Ritz-Carlton Rancho Mirage, and we started on Sunday with a holiday brunch for our ladies and gentlemen. And as we were greeting the tables, I could talk to one of the ladies that was working. I found out that her mom had worked for Marriott for 30 years in the Valley, and two of her kids, her son and daughter, both work at the Ritz-Carlton Rancho Mirage. And as we were talking, they were like, we want to work here for 30 more years. I also was speaking with another lady that works with us. Her sister used to work at State Fair Bar and Kitchen. And her sister, who no longer works at the resort, told me that she's always been interested in wellness. And she was actually able to get an excellent job at one of the wellness clinics in Rancho Mirage. And they were so thrilled to have someone that had been trained at the Ritz-Carlton. And so when I think about the expansion, I think about how many more stories like that we'd be able to see, and how many more intergenerational families and brothers and sisters in the community would be able to be employed. Another area that I think of, and just this last week, is community footprints. Community footprints is really key and in the DNA of the Ritz-Carlton brand. In the past week, we have done trash pickup in some of the areas at the Bighorn that they frequent to make sure it's safe for them. We donated towels to an organization called Overflow. They provide towels to the unsheltered in the Valley. We also were able to provide linens, gently used linens, to animal shelters in the area. And tomorrow, a lot of our ladies and gentlemen are going to support Find Food Bank in boxing up food in preparation of the families that are in need as we go into this holiday season. So those are just a couple of things that I think about, and think about what more stories and what more impact we could have if we had this additional 100 rooms and another ballroom. We'd be able to compete more and share more with the Ritz-Carlton Naples, the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel, as they rotate business and rotate groups that go and frequent those resorts and go East Coast to West Coast, and continue to be a key destination for our leisure guests. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to share, as well as just recognize that Cam Sang and the Lamb family, they're an extension of our family. I've worked for many different owners, and the fact that they have that long-term vision, they're invested in the Valley, they love the Valley, they come and they stay out here personally, that to consider the expansion under their guidance and in your partnership would just be just tremendous for us to see. So thank you, and thank you for all the comments, and the Mirada residents we also consider an extension of our family as well. Thank you.
Sal Amasquita.
Good evening, Mayor, staff, council members. My name is Salvador Amezquita. I am a member of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. So I live in the area. I golf in Rancho Mirage. I shop in Rancho Mirage. My wife and my son, they both work and attend school in Rancho Mirage. So I wanted to come here because I believe that the environmental impact of this project will impact me and my family. But the city should require the project to be built with contractors that hire locally. They pay the prevailing wage and utilize apprentices from a state apprenticeship training program. Workforce requirements like this reduce construction-related environmental impacts while benefiting the local economy and developing the workforce in the area. In a recent 2020 report titled Putting California on the High Road, a Job and Climate Action Plan for 2030, the California Workforce Development Board concluded that investment in growing, diversifying, and upskilling California's workforce can positively affect returns on climate mitigation efforts. And recently, the state of California reiterated its commitment towards encouraging workforce development and housing affordability through the Affordable Housing and High Roads Act of 2022, otherwise known as Assembly Bill 2011. Which requires projects to pay workers prevailing wage and hire from a state-certified apprenticeship program for projects meeting the affordability and development standards. Thanks very much. Happy holidays, and we hope to see you back soon.
Richard Zaki.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. I'm a resident of Mirada Estates. I've lived here full-time for about 6 years. I think the Ritz-Carlton is a good corporate citizen, a good neighbor. I'm pro-development. I think all kinds of good things with the project, but I do have 4 concerns. One of them I feel is mitigated by the noise situation where you've reduced the hours of construction. So I think that is helpful. But probably the most important is the sidewalk. And I know staff thinks they've done something to improve that. In my mind, I think it's a cop-out. The road's going to get narrower. I drive that road many times a day. At night when it's dark, you can't see people very well. When the sun's shining, I'm putting my hand in front of my eyes to follow the road and make sure I don't hit anybody. And to come up and say there's improvements that we have to move and there's things we have to do to put in a proper sidewalk, I think that's a cop-out. Almost every main street in Rancho Mirage has a sidewalk. The developers normally have to pay for it to get their plan approved. To go in and say it's costly, I just don't buy it. I think it needs to be done properly. If we don't do it now, it'll never get done. And it will be a major problem. I think it's a huge liability for the city. And I don't think just a 5-foot bike walkway for going both directions is enough to handle it. The construction traffic's a concern, and I think it's mostly vehicles going up the hill. I'm behind cars all the time. They're going very slow. They're maintenance people, gardeners, pool people. And then we're putting all these construction trucks going up there. I know you mentioned the emergency access road is narrow, it's 20 foot, it's difficult for two-way traffic. Well, the vehicles that are going the slowest are the ones going up the hill. Why don't you look at using the emergency road for traffic coming into the development, the construction site, and let them come down the hill where it's a little easier to maintain your speed and it will cut down half the traffic. That might be a nice compromise that it's, helps fix the problem. The view shed, I'm a little concerned mostly with the 3-story buildings. And I'm thinking, I don't know exactly what you call it, elevation survey or something where it's staked. I've seen it on a lot of construction sites, and you can actually see the height of the building. Hopefully it's not a problem, or there might be a few buildings that it is a problem, and there could be some modifications ahead of time. With the view shelter, you talked about planting the palm trees. That's right. We basically don't allow any more palm trees in our development because we don't want to block views of neighbors. It sounded like it would be on the property line between our development and the Ritz-Carlton. Palm trees will grow, and if they're planted every 15 feet, I'm thinking there might just be a wall of palm trees blocking the view. I know I ran out of time. Thank you very much for your consideration, and have a good afternoon and happy holidays.
Andy Goldstein.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing us having this time. As Richard was saying, we have a number of issues that we're concerned about. People don't buy in Mirada for not having views. The name Mirada means the glance. People really, really love living there because of the views. So we are blocking some views, and for those homeowners, it's very unfortunate. As far as the sidewalk goes, I'm in 100% agreement with Richard. We're going to have an accident. There's going to be a death. There's going to be somebody hurt on Frank Sinatra Drive. People walk up and down it. They're given maps by the Ritz-Carlton. It's okay to walk on Frank Sinatra, and it really isn't. It's very dangerous. What's the cost versus a death? What's going to happen when somebody gets hit by a car there? And it's going to happen. People walk 3 or 4 abreast. I don't think a bike lane will suffice. I think we're looking towards the future. I don't want to be sitting somewhere saying, why didn't we do something before something happened? And I think that's the problem with the walking up and down Frank Sinatra. It's just not going to work having a small bike lane. And I understand there'd be a lot of expense with moving utilities and so forth. That's the price of development. And I don't want to be looking at a family saying, I'm sorry you lost your father, or your mother, or your kids because they got hit by a car, which, by the way, are different dealerships use Frank Sinatra as a test track for testing out the cars they want to buy. And you see them all the time, zooming up and zooming down. They don't know the curves. People walk late at night on Frank Sinatra, and it's dark, and they're wearing dark clothes. It's just an accident waiting to happen, and it's going to happen. And it's going to be a huge lawsuit, and somebody's going to be hit with a huge bill. Last but not least, I think they need to put a camera light for traffic at 111 and Frank Sinatra. People, every day we see people making right turns on reds, even though you have 5 different areas that say no right turn on red. They do it anyway. And people are coming around on 111 at 65, 70 miles an hour. There's going to be another accident there. One gentleman was already killed, a bike rider, I believe, which is tragic. It's going to happen again because people just totally ignore that intersection. So I implore the city council to look at the possibilities of how to mitigate that and make it safer. We're just trying to save lives, I guess, is the bottom line. And we have 2 areas that I think are going to be really, really bad if we don't do something. Thank you all for your time.
Michael Harrington.
Good afternoon, Michael Harrington. I'm a longtime resident of Rancho Mirage and live nearby, Frank Sinatra and Duval. I did bring a visual with me, and I did submit written comments, and I don't want to be repetitive of what has already been said about the traffic concerns, which I do share. It's dangerous to walk around that area, and I stopped. Actually, I did at night. I don't walk around there anymore. But this area is a sensitive area, and what you have here is one of the many pictures I've taken of our bighorn sheep. And just as a visual reminder that this is a beautiful, pristine area that keeps getting encroached on. And even if the physical development isn't necessarily physically encroaching, you're only looking at the map, you have to consider the human activity, the noise, all of the disturbances that we continue to encroach in our beautiful, pristine areas. We're so lucky to live here. And many people moved here from places like LA, like myself, to be in such a beautiful area. And now you want to make it like the place we left. So that's what we're doing. I'm not anti-development. In fact, my father was a developer. However, he built homes, and I think Councilmember Weil might relate to this. He built homes during a time when it was the housing boom for homes for people to live. Many returned from service overseas in World War II. And they needed homes, and it was a place we could do homes. So sure, we need development, but why are we going into these beautiful areas that really belong to all of us to enjoy, as well as our wildlife and our sheep who can't come here and talk to you? But here they are there. I was very close when I took this picture. They came up to me. They're real living animals, and it's part of an ecosystem of many other animals. And we're affecting that ecosystem every time we encroach with more and more development and machinery and activity for, money. But look, I'm a capitalist. We all want to make money. But let's do it responsibly and respect our land that we have and the people that live here and call it home. So thank you for listening to me and to my comments. And again, keep this in mind. They can't be here, but think of all the animals that are being threatened. And I would ask for a full CEQA review and no approval until the full CEQA review is done of this project and to come back then. That hasn't been done. I believe it's required because it's Mountain Reserve being changed to a resort. I believe it's required you do a full CEQA. Stop cutting corners and playing word games in this report, this ridiculous report that the staff wrote. Okay, thank you.
That was the last speaker card. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to provide public testimony? Okay. I think this gentleman raised his hand first. No. Okay, go ahead. Please step to the podium and state your name.
My name is Ronnie Lam. I'm actually the applicant and also the hotel owner for since the hotel has been open. So good afternoon, mayors and all of the city council. I'd like to say that this project actually has been approved about more than 20 years ago. So I still remember 12 years ago when I stepped in to the city and take over these failed projects. And I still remember two of the city council at that time is Mr. Dana Kober and Mr. Richards, which is the special committee that oversee the project. So first thing he asked me is, Ronnie, you sure that you want to take over? It's not an easy project to do. I said, yeah, I commit to do it. So in the year one, Bill Marriott came over and looked at me and said, Ronnie, you know, it would be a hot summer night at that day. And then he asked me, how come nobody work? I said, it's because 120 degrees, no air condition on a hotel. Really tough to find worker here. So it's not easy to find worker here that we can build it. So I know that one concern about a gentleman talk about worker, right? So it's really not easy to get worker in this desert area. So we finally get the project open and finally open in 2014. We stand here today to ask the council to approve the second phase. Actually, the second phase was approved 20 years ago. If we were not a conscious and good developer and good owner, we would just build the second phase after the hotel open. But we are not. We take time, even though we put money in. Many people would say, oh, I put money in, I need the return of those money. But instead of doing that, we let the hotel open for 3 years and see what we can improve to the project. So after that, and that's why we come in today, we did the modification. If we were not be a good developer, we would just build it. But instead of that, we enhanced the project. We know that the project need more parking space. So we enhanced by changing it so every home in the future would at least they have one parking space instead of everybody jammed to the valet parking. We built additional pool experiences because we found out the pool is not big enough to hold all of the guests. We put more meeting spaces because we like to enhance the project that we have another ballroom, which not only we can take all the groups that want to coming in to become generated, to put this hotel generated to become another level of revenue. So without the ballroom, we basically all the time have to reserve the ballroom for the groups, but not for the wedding. We miss almost at least about 20 big wedding per year that generated a lot of sales tax and transit occupant tax for the hotel. So that's why I'm thinking, you know, we coming in today is because we try to enhance the project to be better. It's not a project that is supposed can be built almost like 7 years ago, but instead we took all these 7 years to get a better project. When we hotel open, almost half of the resident is not open yet. They're still building it. When our guests is all sometimes complain about noise and complain about the site, complain about anything, we never say anything. We would just, okay, because people are doing temporary construction, it only takes 2 years. By the time they finish it, the noise is gone, right? So when city approved the project, more than 20 years ago, the road is being done already. Today, of course, something that nobody think about, you know, today people may be driving fast and people may be hurt about when people are traffic. We understand that. But I think it's not only us being penalized because we are the last one to build a unit now, to enhance a better unit now, and then we're forced to trying to put an expensive project back to building a road for everybody. I think it's the community relationship that right up on the drive, Rancho Mirage Drive, every property owner should contribute to make some contribution to enhance the trying to do the road. We have no problem to doing that, or we have no problem to what the city manager just suggests and the planning department suggested. We pave the road, we doing all this, we share all the costs. But in order to do a better one, I may agree, I think everybody have to agree from the community that was a share from all the property owner that, up the hill. So the last thing to say, appreciate that everybody's time, appreciate that it took such years to get it done, but I'm sure that we as a Ritz-Carlton, I think we did do our best to make sure we serve the community the best we can. Thank you very much.
Sir, would you still like to speak? Thank you. Please state your name.
Sure. Tom Richards. Good afternoon, mayors, city council members. If you could pop that map up possibly, I'm at the 674 elevation, location 31 Murata, if that's possible at all. Okay. Sure. Well, I'll keep speaking. So my request is fairly simple. I'll make it quick. We're losing basically 2 site elevations from my examination of both the building plans and the landscaping plans. Now we're right where that 674 is. So in all respect, City Manager Hagerman says we don't lose a site for 300 feet. It looks like we lose a site in like less than 100 feet. That's number one. We can absorb maybe losing the sites, our view, our valley view, but the mountain view, you can't really see it on this map. We have a curve, and based on the landscaping plans and the fan palms that are put on there, we might lose our mountain view as well. So what my quick proposal is that they put some story pole. Now, if you're not familiar with a story pole, it's a wood or metal pole put up with a flag that depicts the height of the top of the trees that are going to be there and the top of the building. That way, everyone in Murata Estates can see what are you actually losing. It's hard to depict it on an actual site plan to see what you're going to lose. But that's my proposal, is that you request that the developer respectfully puts a few story poles both on that curve, which is just under our house, and then at that 300-foot level, which is 300 feet out. But I believe it's going to be like 100 feet for the first building. That's my simple request. Does anybody have any questions on that? You can't comment?
Can't respond.
Okay,
on public
okay.
comments.
All right.
But
Well, thank you for your
We're
time.
most grateful that you shared them with us.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to provide? Okay, please step up and state your name.
Hello, my name is Claudia Pinella. I'm representing the Villas of Murata. We are concerned with everything that's been brought up. Everyone's really done a good job in stating what their issues are. These are not just one-off. I believe that all of us are feeling this. My group at Villas of Murata, well, they can't be here because many of them work, and 1 o'clock in the afternoon is just not going to cut it for them. And we were given very late notice. So I have been implored to come and talk with you about the traffic on Frank Sinatra. 1 in, 1 out. Having just left the Palisades on Friday, when you have one access road in and out, I saw what happened. If any of you drive Frank Sinatra in the morning and you see 3 people walking abreast and the sun is in your eyes, it's not a good deal. So we have got concerns about the traffic on Frank Sinatra, big concerns. We have concerns about the use of the road with heavy vehicles. Our people in our area are not as concerned about the noise. We are not as concerned about the views. However, I understand what everyone has said before me. We come here for the views and the weather. Coming from Minnesota, I have no views. I have weather, but it's not pretty right now. 5 inches of snow and 10 degrees. We are here for two things. And walking Frank Sinatra and not being able to feel safe and having vehicles up and down for 2 years. We've had building across from us on several roads and villas of Murata. The building has taken 3 years to put up 3 houses. Nothing goes as smoothly. And in a day of in this age, I think that this gentleman could do a 3D rendering and put the height that we could see actually what this is going to look like, how the views are going to be impacted by the trees, by the buildings, a 3D rendering. The things that you showed here today, we are not engineers, we're not architects, we're not builders. I think for the common people, all of us that have houses in that area, a 3D rendering with the trees and the height in proportion to the houses would be an excellent way to show what is going to happen. The way you're stating it now, you have to be an engineer or an architect to understand the things that you put up. And you spoke very, very quickly. We don't understand a lot of the terms. I think we need to see something a little bit easier to understand for the common individual. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further testimony? Okay, please step up and state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is John Hicks, Camsang Company. I'm a project manager for Camsang. Been with them for 21 years now. And normally I sit back and I wait for questions from council and planning commissions, but I didn't know if that opportunity was going to come, so I thought I'd just speak to a couple of the concerns that were expressed. And as Mr. Lamb has already mentioned, number one, we are not proposing a new project. This project was a part of an original master plan that dates back to at least 2005, where I know where this project actually, being familiar with Rancho Mirage, had the mass excavation that was completed. The project that we're proposing today, one, started with phase one of a renovation to a Ritz-Carlton that existed, was completely shut down. And with that renovation, it had a certain height limit requirement that was imposed on that existing structure. That project was expanded. We now have multiple wings that have several names. We have the spa building, which is a detached building to the east, as well as the residence, which is 16 units as a detached building as well, that all maintain the height restriction. Now, we show our portion of the project that runs anywhere from a minimum of 50 feet from our neighbors to the south, Murata Estates, and then goes back to 300 feet to show that where our roof line aligns with the adjacent property as a result and a response to the view challenges that occurred. What they don't show is that we also have the existing Ritz-Carlton structure, which is a 3-story structure with a pitched roof that is currently on site that is even further north of where our existing or proposed structure is going to be. So now we have several structures that we are infilling in alignment with the existing project that was fully entitled, had gone through a design process, went through the CEQA process as a master plan community. When we acquired the project, I remember it was pretty incredible when we first visited the site in right around 2012. It was only 50% complete, and there were as many animals living in the building as out of it. So it was pretty interesting walking in and to see what it became and what our contractors did with that project is pretty astounding that we were able to get the Ritz-Carlton open, operational, extremely successful. And now, going back to the council that was in place at the time, a follow-through on a commitment that we made to the city of Rancho Mirage as the developer. And that commitment was that I remember the very first question. We've had other developers up here who did not possess the ability to complete. Mr. Lamb, John, what makes you think that you're going to be able to complete it? We brought out our resume, our experience, what we've done and to achieve what we've accomplished to this date. And we were able to successfully complete and open up that ranch, the Ritz-Carlton, Phase 1, with a commitment that we had been asked, would we complete the project or would we leave the land as a scar, right? And the scar being right now, if you go up to the site, you look to the south of our property, in the Mirage, a lot of people who have the view, right now you're looking at land that was graded. We didn't grade it. It was already graded when we arrived. So it is white in nature, this really soft white gray tones, where the existing terrain has been removed. Even as far as the Sky Mesa, that also was pre-graded. So we're looking at a rough grade pad that we have managed to not only work with, actually our architectural team did a terrific job of actually, one, considering the neighbors. We actually decreased the impact of the project, making it a little bit smaller. Not much, but we did decrease the impact of the initial project that was proposed to be built by reducing the unit count. And then, looking at enhancement of landscape based on our knowledge of the existing landscape, how it works in the desert, what is more drought tolerant and drought friendly. That's what our landscape architect has done. So we're working with plant types and species that are currently working within Rancho Mirage and the Coachella Valley as a whole. That was one of the criteria that were set. As far as the view corridors, we are extremely careful. If you look at the orientation of the existing residences, which exists on the site plan, we worked in and around, minimizing our impact to the neighbors to try to maintain a good neighbor. And then as far as I heard that, what is it? Local labor, the importance of that. And it's always exciting when we, since I was a part of the project in the beginning, and I'll try and make this real brief, I saw the young ladies and gentlemen that came to the hotel to gain employment, seek employment. There was a hiring effort that went on with the hotel, and the excitement and enthusiasm for a project that is coming into the city of Rancho Mirage and the type of employment that the Rancho Mirage provides. These are skilled jobs that are provided just in the operation of the hotel. I was always impressed with the fact that when we opened the hotel, 45 to 60 days prior to opening, there's a level of staff that had to come in and go through an extensive training effort that is controlled by the Ritz-Carlton. And all the ladies and gentlemen that come in, whether you're a new hire today or when we open that property, this 45 days, they spend 8 to 10 hours in a conference room every day for that period before the hotel opens so they can be appropriately trained. In addition to that, when we look at construction, there are a particular contractor that weighs in mind who started out as an employee on the construction site. He now has a successful mechanical business. He is an owner of a business, and he started as an employee in the construction phase. So not only have we contributed to the local economy, people who have participated in the construction of the Ritz-Carlton found a love with the Coachella Valley as a whole and Rancho Mirage, and now have made it their permanent residence, established as businesses. Inside, I know we've had an executive baker as part of our staff. She decided to go open a bakery up in the Coachella Valley. And then on top of that, we had a security guard, started out as our job site security guard. He's now the director of security for the Rancho Mirage, and his family and the members of his family have opted to move to the valley as a result of his relationship and the experience that he had. So we really pay attention to local employment as a whole, as a developer. So with that, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any additional public testimony from members of the public? Please state your name.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Omar Kobian. I'm a representative of the Carpenters Union, representing about 58 members that live in Riverside County and hundreds that live in Coachella Valley. Sitting back, listening, I wasn't going to make any statement tonight. I listened to, number one, the owner that owns one of the crown jewels right here in Rancho Mirage, stating that it's sometimes difficult to find workers to do construction 120-degree weather. I beg to differ. I've been a carpenter for 25 years. I built countless projects out here, most of your casinos, in that degree weather. Hospitals was what I built most of my career off of. And for the project manager stating that, they've built, created owners out of mechanical companies and so on, that's great. But I challenge any council member to walk onto a construction site and ask a worker there, does your employer provide health care? Number one. Second question, does your employer provide a pension? And I would bet a check that they will say 99% of the time, no. So being good stewards of this city, we have to ask, a crown jewel like Ritz-Carlton, you would think that would make sure that the building of such construction site would hire contractors that provide those kind of good wages, a living wage, because right now, this recent administration has cut $110 billion of projects, energy projects, union projects, just of recent. Not to mention what's coming down the pipeline with canceling our project labor agreements for such said infrastructure coming up. So not only are we under attack by this federal administration and countless, but we are constantly fighting for our livelihood from private contractors that refuse to pay a good living wage with a pension, a state accredited apprenticeship. I mean, that's a whole nother subject. What are we doing for the youth of the Coachella Valley? Are we providing those job opportunities? Because if you're talking about a construction site that pays cash pay or doesn't provide health care or a pension or a living wage, where are they going to rely on that health care? Subsidized by us, the taxpayer. So when you talk about these crown jewels, let's ask them, what kind of community benefits are you providing the city and the area of Coachella? For that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Any additional public testimony by members of the public? That was the last speaker.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to council comments, and I'll start to my right, Councilmember Downs.
Nothing now. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm sympathetic to the issues that you raised here today. But I also believe that this is a good project. So I'm going to reserve my comments till later.
Councilmember Weil.
Thank you, Mayor. Being the longest serving member of this council, I can reflect back to the time that this project was closed. It was a dead horse. Mr. Lamb made reference to coming before the council, making a presentation, and talked about improving this particular closed project and making it into a first-class operation. Obviously, there was a degree of skepticism because the project had already failed. Would he be capable of delivering what he was representing? I can tell you that I've known both Mr. Lamb and his family since they took ownership, and they have fulfilled all of their obligations entirely. I feel confident that the addition to the existing project will enhance what is already a successful operation. As has been referenced today, this essentially was previously approved a number of years ago. The additions that are being asked for are essentially not only condo hotel, an additional kitchen, banquet facilities, and it will attract what is one of the most profitable parts of any hotel operation, whether at Rancho Mirage or somewhere else, and that's convention business. And that's what this particular addition will do. So from my standpoint, I think it's an outstanding addition. I think it will enhance an asset that is already producing a great deal of success and revenue for the city. It's employing a lot of people here in the valley, and I look forward to the opportunity to be able to make a motion to approve this project. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Fromberg Edelstein.
I recognize the sensitivity of this area for the residents and property owners that reside there, and also for a commercial business to exist in such a sensitive area. I believe the city staff has done a remarkable job addressing concerns that were brought to us via the letters, and I respect the opinions of those living up there and what it would mean in terms of the quiet solitude that you enjoy now. But the weight of the importance of what the expansion of the Ritz-Carlton would mean to the entire city, you have to look at the cost-benefit analysis of both, and that's what I'm considering, so thank you.
Madam Mayor, I do have a couple of thoughts now.
Sure.
So with respect to a couple of issues that the residents asked for, we are very sensitive to your concerns, and I wish we could grant all of your concerns. But I do want to talk about a couple of them. One is the road, and is it possible to use that emergency road? And that's what it is. It's an emergency road. If I felt comfortable requiring this project to use that road, I would do so. I'm not comfortable doing so. I can't do it, and here's the reasons why. We now know that it must be a 24-foot wide road to accommodate construction traffic, and it's not. It's a 20-foot road. It's not possible to expand that road based on the photos that all of us saw here at this presentation today. It's also the case that the primary use of that road would be for emergency vehicles, fire vehicles, for example. And if we were to take the chance to use that road, and if something were to happen and we lost lives up there, I'm pretty sure that we'd have a different kind of a problem on our hands. So if I could, I would require use of that road, but I can't. I don't believe it's the right thing to do. I do believe the right thing to do is to, as staff has suggested, to limit the hours for construction vehicles and for construction activity to 8 to 6 as opposed to 7 to 7. And I do believe that we should engage in a study to determine how to handle pedestrian traffic up and down Frank Sinatra. Those are the things that I think that we should do. I think we should accept the staff's recommendation about those two items, and I think that we should approve this based on the inclusion of those two staff recommendations. With respect to this project, it certainly is a crown jewel in Rancho Mirage, and it certainly will improve the Ritz. It certainly will be an improvement for the city, so I'm looking forward to that. I wish we could find a way to give all of you exactly what you want. Sometimes we can't. We have to weigh the benefits with the issues that you bring to us. I'm prepared to vote yes on this today, and I'm prepared to vote yes on this with those two provisions added to the conditions of approval. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have anything at this time? Okay. Thank you to all of you who sent letters, phone calls, emails. We love the public discourse. It's important. I'm old enough to know from way back when the proposal for the Ritz-Carlton came to the city of Rancho Mirage. Oh my goodness. You would have thought that we were just raping the citizens of their stars, their skyline. I'm talking the original Ritz-Carlton that came here in the 1980s. Everything that they feared was of naught. Many people enjoy the Ritz today. Many, unfortunately, are no longer here in the community. And the Ritz-Carlton did become the crown jewel. It later became the Lodge. during the Great Recession and unfortunately had to close. We were fortunate to have the opportunity to reopen those doors again. And that's why the Ritz is succeeding as it is today. But I also remember when the homes, residents throughout the community said, well, you've built the hotel, but please don't build the homes. All those fears were laid aside, and we have residents that are enjoying those homes, and they are stunning. And they are a welcome to our community. I'm glad that staff was able to mitigate some suggestions on some concerns. The traffic up and down, especially at that signal at Sinatra yesterday as I was exiting the parking lot around 4:30. I don't know if it's an employee or a resident, or I've seen the car before whip through our parking lot to avoid the signal, a white Lexus. I'm hoping that we can mitigate something like that because they almost hurt themselves just jetting out onto 111 when they didn't even stop from our driveway. So that is a concern, and we'll continue to look at that. Many of you have said today you're not opposed to the project, and we're trying to mitigate the concerns that are there. This is good for Rancho Mirage. As it's been said, this was approved 2 decades ago. We're just moving forward. And thank you all for coming here today. We really appreciate it. With that, I'll ask for a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilmember.
No,
Wild.
I was going to make the motion when you're ready, Mayor.
I'm ready.
I'd like to make a motion that the City Council adopt resolution number 2025, next in order, approving the mitigation, monitoring, and reporting program and mitigated negative declaration SCH number 2024-03-0267 for the proposed project based on environmental assessment case number EA 21-0002, and 2, adopt resolution number 2025 next in order, approving general plan zoning map amendment GPZ-MA 21-0001, tentative parcel map case number TPM 23-0002, and major modification case number MOD 21-0004, and 3, introduce ordinance number, next in order, first reading, approving development agreement amendment DA 21-0002.
May I suggest that we add 2 items to Councilmember Wiles' motion? Those 2 items being that we accept staff's recommendation with respect to mitigating the hours of construction from 7 to 7 to 8 to 6, and that we also instruct staff to study how we go about putting or placing a bike path, a pedestrian and bike path up Frank Sinatra.
And those amendments are acceptable.
I'll second.
No, that was it.
Motion carries 5-0.
Calendar. Number 7, the intention to annex territory comprising of 5.04 acres to Community Facilities District Number 1, connection with tentative tract map number TTM 38447. Location is southwest corner of Via Florencia and Via Josefina. Jacob De La Cruz, our financial analyst, will be reporting on this.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, Council. This item is the first step in the city's annexation process for developments within the city's jurisdiction. The second and final step is planned to be considered at the February 5th, 2026 council meeting. The territory proposed for annexation is located on the southwest corner of Via Florencia and Via Josefina and is comprised of one parcel totaling approximately 5.04 acres. Tentative tract map TTM 38447 was originally approved by the council on September 5th, 2024, with condition of approval number 20 requiring that the territory be annexed into Community Facilities District Number 1. In accordance with the condition of approval, the owner of the annexed territory submitted a petition for annexation requesting that the City Council initiate proceedings to annex the territory into CFD1 and provide for expedited approval of the annexation and the levy of the special tax. Upon approval of the resolution, the city will be able to accept the petition submitted by the owner for annexation, consent to the levy upon the annexed territory, allow for the shortening of the time for the special election to expedite the annexation, accept and preliminarily approve the annexation map and direct the city clerk to record the map, and establish the date and time of the public hearing on the annexation of the territory. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And I did not receive any speaker cards on this item. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? No speakers.
Are there any council comments at this time? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. Adopt resolution number 2025 next in order, declaring the city's intention to annex territory to Community Facilities District Map Number 1 and to levy a special tax therein for additional police and fire services, preliminarily approve a map of the area proposed to be annexed, and schedule a public hearing to consider the annexation and the levy of the special tax for annexation number 203.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Now it's time to open non-agenda public comments at this time. It's an opportunity for the public to speak on issues not on the agenda for a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker.
And the first speaker is Susan Ragsdale. Did she step out? Yes. Okay, Wally Melendez.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I never knew that existed up there. But if I had to vote, I'd vote no. Well, anyway, what we really need is university. See, what I notice out here is there's an imbalance. I'm reminded of the oligarchs of Russia. They're ultra rich billionaires. We in the U.S. also have billionaires. So this is the first time I heard about this project up the road here, right beside us. And the first thing, and one of the things that popped into my mind was, what is the name of the company that's trying to build up there? Houses. It doesn't seem right. It's too difficult. It's up in the mountains. It's full of rocks. So the company that's doing this is trying to. They must be multi-billionaires. Even building in the sand, like it's done in this area, building on the sand. Is extra expensive. So This is the first time I hear about that. But instead of houses, let me tell you something. As I saw it, there's an imbalance. The people with a lot of money, they are very educated. The people that don't have money are not educated. So that's why my main point today is instead of building houses up there, you should build a university. And I still have 9 seconds. So I want to remind the mayor that it's her responsibility to keep everybody to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Susan Ragsdale.
Hello. Yeah. Usually I have a plan, I have something written. I can't even think about what I want to say, but what I need to say is extremely important. 74 years ago on this day I was born. This is my 74th birthday. What a bummer. Ever since I got the fraudulent termination of tenancy, my daughter turned her back on me. It was a terrible reaction. It wasn't appropriate, but, she couldn't handle it. And because of that, I have not seen my granddaughter for 4 years. I remember a year ago, Ted Weil was talking about you wanting to have a grandchild. I don't know what happened. I don't know any of you personally. But it has ruined my life. And my granddaughter's life, for sure. My fondest memories are of my maternal grandparents. And speaking of that, I'm a 6th-generation Californian. My ancestors came here in 1851. It's a terrible feeling, number one, to have someone who is my daughter's age, like the city manager, treat me with such disdain and contempt and to actually be what I call my slow-motion murderer. It's not an exaggeration to say that. I'm nothing compared to what I used to be before these terrible crimes happened. And I didn't do anything wrong at all, but first complained to the property manager that I had very, very aggressive drunks next door to me on the other side, and then she allowed the really insane people to move in on the other side without checking their background. And I couldn't even come to City Hall and talk about it because nobody would pay attention to me because they think I'm this crazy lady, I'd have to be really crazy to keep coming back here all these years to beg for decency. I won't stand up and do the flag salute with any of you because it's so hypocritical. Very hypocritical. And you won't even have a conversation with me, although I've tried. And I've tried to have conversations with Mr. Hagerman, too. This doesn't seem like a democratic institution to me at all. And I lost my iMac because I was living in my car and I was taking it in and out and going to the library every day with it, and it dropped. And I was just at the start of trying to promote my mid-century modern cats and everything. I can't work without my computer. I'm just nothing compared to what I was. No family, nothing. And I didn't do anything wrong at all. And I know some of you are very much aware of this. I've proven it. I'm sorry. I hate to be so negative, but please take care of me. I'm not asking for much. I've tried to offer my very best to you, and it's unfortunate that I ever stepped in this room. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on something that is not on today's agenda? That was the last speaker.
Thank you. It's now time for closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll be convening in a closed session for the item listed before you on the agenda as 9A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, case name unspecified since disclosure may jeopardize existing settlement negotiations.
We'll now adjourn to closed session. Thank you. We've now returned from closed session. We'll reconvene to open session and ask the city attorney to report.
Thank you, Mayor. No reportable action taken at closed session today.
Thank you. We'll adjourn. Happy holidays, everyone.